Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with Fanvil. Today's host is Tommy Lee, and he is the Vice President of Sales in North America, and he'll be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please submit them in the question box so that Tommy can answer them at the end of today's presentation. Tommy, thank you so much for being with us again today. Greatly appreciated. I'm finished for now, so please go ahead and take it on over.
Thank you for the introduction, Julie. Everyone, I appreciate your time today in your busy day today. I'm going to provide a brief presentation about our V-Series, which is our latest IP phone series. I'm just going to highlight on some of the differentiators and how they differ from our existing phones that we have come out in the past. But at the same time, I also want to introduce a new sub-brand that we're coming out called Linkvil. And in Linkvil, it's really a sub-brand of Fanvil. We're not breaking out companies or anything like that, because one of the things that we've decided to do is that we've realized that the world is really moving highly into wireless communications. And in addition to all of our SIP endpoints, we've decided to go ahead and put lots of resources in investing in a whole plethora of wireless endpoint solutions. And I'm going to go into some more detail later on in the slides. So I just kind of wanted to give you sort of a heads up roadmap on some of the products that we're going to be coming out to in the near future. So with that said, not everybody is familiar with Fanvil, and what I always like to do is just to kind of do a quick overview of our whole solution set, but I'm going to really only concentrate on our V-Series phones and everything. In general, we have several different categories that Fanvil provides solutions to the marketplace. One of them, obviously, is our SIP business phones, which is a core piece of our business. We have several different series, of which one of the highlights is the V-Series phone, which is what I'm circling here. This is the V67, which is the Android, but we also have some Linux-based phones as well, and I'm going to dig more deeply into that. Coupling with our business phones, we also have a very focused endpoint that focuses on the hospitality unit as well. Beyond that, we also have a lot of intercom and access security products, both outdoors and indoor units. This is not a focus of this presentation, but I want to let you know the spectrum of solutions that we're coming out with. And one of the common threads that all of these solutions do is to really bring SIP to all of the different growing plethora of SIP endpoint used as communications throughout all businesses to businesses, hospitality, hospitals, and etc. So all of these things are just pieces for your background, and I'll be more than happy to dig through this. You could send Julie or myself an extra email if you want us to do a deeper dive on any of this. But as well, one of the new things that we came out to marketplace is a new sub-brand called Linkvil. So if you think about it, you know, Linkvil is just a sub-brand. I'm going to talk a little bit more about our first introductory product with that. So with that said, I'm going to start focusing a little bit on more of the V-Series. And when you look at the V-Series, that's the product line that we actually have displayed up here. And when you do it, this is not going to replace or the XU series, which is very, very popular here in North America. It's going to really supplement it, because each of the different phones have different feature sets, and what we've done is really optimize the different types of features to really suit your specific needs. And what we realized is that with the old XU series, people love this series because it really mimicked many of the older phones that it replaced very often, so that it actually had many of the BLF or side or speed dial keys that people are used to on the right-hand side, while separately managing many of the SIP accounts as well as the part keys that you may do on a separate window. Those are really key points about that. And if you wanted to actually do wireless communications on this series, you had to basically put in a dongle, whether it be a Bluetooth dongle or a Wi-Fi dongle interface into these phones. We heard a lot of feedback, and what we've done is we came out with the V-Series, which is the discussion point today, where we've taken actually the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth wireless communication features and integrated into the phone. Why is that important? Because when our integrators integrate these phones in the field, the less things that you have to deal with, the less issues that you have in terms of having it fail. You know, when people look in the back of their phone, they see a dongle, they go, oh, what's this for? They'll unplug it and they'll plug it back in. The good news is that all of these features are actually bound into the phone. So what you have is a really new series that packs all the baseline features that a lot of clients are used to in the XU. And what I'll do is just try to get into this series a little bit more deeper as we get into it. When you look at the V series, they're really divided into two separate categories. One is the Android, which is the Android 9.0 version here. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But some of the other features that we have are the other three, which is the 62 through 65. And all of these are your basic Linux-based type of handset. So if you don't have a need for Android, these three models will suit you fine. You know, I like this limited SKU number because it's almost like walking up to a gas station where you have unleaded, unleaded plus, and then premium. Really, when you think about it, even though there are different tiers of phones, each one comes basically fully loaded with many of the features. For example, the 64 and 65 as well as 67 all include a dual band Wi-Fi integrated onto it, in addition to a Bluetooth capability that's already made into the actual phone itself. The V62, even though it's a baseline, doesn't necessarily have the Bluetooth features because coupled with a lot of the deployments, you have a lot of what we call baseline features that all they want is a basic phone and not spend $1 more, $1 less to have all the basic features. But then if the client just needs dial tone, we have those things here. You could also mix these phones with our XU series as well, which contains the 3 series, which will also expand a lot more on those platforms as well. Some of the things that we have on the 65 and 67 is that it comes with a nice tilt screen, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that moving forward. A nice thing about the V67, it actually has an internal camera that's built into the phone itself. Many of the other cameras that really come out have an external phone that you have to mount on it. Again, this is one of those external things where you have to mount on it. You have to worry about another firmware load. This is just a way to singularly have one phone that has all the features, and it contains a really plastic cup feature that allows you to kind of, for added security, give you that added feature of being able to block the camera when you don't need to do that. Let's think a little bit more deeper about the V67 flagship phone. Not only does it support some of the features as well as being able to do the 9.0, it has really a large touchscreen. And now touchscreen is something that's really subjective, what I found in the marketplace. And if you find that touchscreen is something that is something that you desire, the V67 will really entertain all of the features that you have supporting all of these features as well. Not only will it do that, but it also serves as the great video camera as well, because as you noticed in our initial slide, we had a lot of access units and intercoms with cameras that all comply with the H.264 codec, which outputs high resolution video, and both the V67 as well as the V65 and the Linux platform will provide that high resolution graphics right onto your phone, giving you all of those nice features right on the phone. And this one will give you a touchscreen capability so that you can go ahead and answer the calls or open the gate, depending on what you want to do. Coupling with that as well, with this is also having the capability of being IPv6, all the different features that you may consider this one supports, being hearing aid compatible, supporting all the different codecs that are the most famous as well. But one thing about the nice DSS key here is that it actually supports up to 116 new DSS keys. This may not look like a receptionist phone, but by all means, as a high-end phone, this thing supports many of the different features that many of the people look for in a high-end phone. Of course, obviously, this thing supports a GigE interface as well, so that if you have a high-speed network, this phone will be the last thing that it will take to go ahead and slow back any of the network capabilities of it. Of course, it does PoE, but it also has an optional wall mountable stand. This is something that if you wanted to have it stand on your desk or a wall mount, the V6 series will able to do that. Now let's move forward to the V65. The V65 is what we call the high-end Linux version, and for those who don't really need an Android interface, this will be the ideal platform for you, because for those, as I mentioned earlier, this doesn't have a touchscreen but contains many different buttons. I personally like a button interface because very often when I drink coffee too much in the morning, my finger gets a little too nervous. I like buttons because that's my interface. Many people love a touchscreen platform. The good news is that both surfaces provide you with that same level of interface, and this one also supports video as well. It doesn't have a camera if you don't need a camera, so then that's why we sort of brought it down, but it will display video from our intercom and access control units, as well as any other camera that supports H.264 video codecs as well. All the video features that I mentioned earlier with a GIGI interface, wall mountable and PoE, as well as a color screen, all of these things really support the great capability. This one gives you 45 different keys, of which with the lower end unit, you can actually multiply like 5 separate windows with all of these different button keys, giving you lots of flexibility and being able to support that. And as well, it also has the Bluetooth, as well as the gigahertz, dual band gigahertz Wi-Fi access as well. The V64, quite honestly, happens to be what we call the workhorse. This is our most popular phone because, no, it doesn't have the tilt screen, but if you still need all the features that the V65 offers, less, of course, the video capability, this gives you a basic phone that supports color screen, gigabit interface, PoE, wall mountable, all the different features that many people look for, as well as giving you enough DSS keys, 21 for that matter, on one single platform that has all the mentioned above features. And this really hits what we consider the sweet spot in being able to address all of those things and giving you high definition audio wherever you go ahead and need it. And this is a nice platform that we go ahead and do. And this is sort of our mid platform that's really captured what we hope is the sweet spot for the new phone system. And in our economic line, we have the V62. The V62, even though it doesn't have a color screen, but everything else it does have, which means a GIGI interface, wall mountable, PoE, but it also has a star capability. I didn't mention about the stars, but when you go in the back, this also has the capability of conferencing 6 parties on the one phone. So if you really do need just a basic phone with some basic features, this will give you all the different features that it will need as well. And if you want Wi-Fi capability in this feature phone, you will need a Wi-Fi dongle to put in the back of this Bluetooth to give you that capability. So it gives you all of those features and not necessarily give you all the features up front, but if you so-called need it, just picking up and investing in a dongle will be able to make this phone a Wi-Fi phone as just like its older brothers would. Here's a matrix to go ahead and provide all of the different feature sets of our V-Series units. What I did was I provided the stars next to those features which really take our V-Series phones separately away from what our competition does. So I'll give you an example. All of these different things in terms of the main screen, we provide a large 7-inch screen. And in some of the lighted keypads in terms of the 65 and 67s, these are the different ways that we've gone ahead and adding a tilt screen of how we differentiate against many of the different people that we do. Local audio conferences, these are all the things that we do that's separate, but I'm not going to go here to go over every single feature, but both Julie and myself can give you a copy of this file if you go ahead and need it. Just send Julie a request and she'll send over a PDF version of this. Now, one of the very unique things about the V-Series phones is it does not contain a sidecar. And here's the main reason why. Almost 9.5 out of 10 applications for people that need a sidecar is for the front desk. And one of the things that Fanvil did, instead of building a sidecar and building on top of one of the high-end phones, we built a phone that is very specific for the front desk. And what we've done is we really allocated 2 sidecars to be coupled on top of each other to minimize desk space. And the great news about this that I hear back from many integrators out there is that you can really deploy and upload all of these different keys with one config file. You don't have to deal with sidecars and coupling it with a cable or dealing with 2 separate firmware things. And quite frankly, from a time to market perspective, you could deploy a front end phone just with one simple push of a single phone, and that's how easy it is. And this could give you really up to 106 different DSS keys that give you that same capability. And it also offers the H.264 video codec. So if you have a center console that you want to look at many different cameras, you can actually call up and see video right on the screen and be able to assign any one of these keys to allow a person to enter in on the gate, etc. We also have a touchscreen version of this, which is called the A32i. I figure I would just kind of keep this thing simple, but wanted you to be aware that we also have 2 different screens for front desk as well as no sidecars, which really I find adds a lot of value. Plus, it also doesn't provide a lot of desk space in the front as well. And these 3 keys that we show here provide 3 levels of sidecars, giving you really almost 6 sidecar capabilities in one platform. And it really provides a quick, easy way to deploy a front desk phone. By the way, this also works with other phones by any chance. So if you happen to have it deployed on other types of things, this is just a SIP endpoint. So you can use this as a step in to be able to deploy this on either Fanvil based type deployments, or you can use this to supplement other brands if that's what you so-called wish. That's sort of an overview of our front desk phones. And what I'm going to do next is really highlight the Linkville solutions. Why did we do Linkville? I think we realized that in the wireless broadband communications, it's going to come up with so many endpoints. It's like, how does one really remember all of the alphabet soup that exists out there? You know, you have all of the V series, the XU series, the X series. How are you going to define that? Well, we decided to come up with a brand new brand called Linkville. So when you hear Linkville, our target is to enable our partners to recognize that as being the wireless communication solution set that is all SIP based as well. Let me go ahead and take that and move it to the next step. This is sort of the roadmap of our Linkville product line. And everything that is really marked in what I would call teal is really where we're headed with this. If you notice, I said in the very first slide, we introduced our first Wi-Fi phone, and I'm going to dig into some of the features about that. But some of the places that we're going with that, and you may see some of the things that we're bringing introduced on our website now, is a ROIP gateway. What is a ROIP gateway? Many hospitality, hospitals, and security uses a wireless walkie-talkie function that typically communicate via an analog UHF type of frequencies. They have push to talk, which be able to have instant communication. The problem with that is that many of those units were basically silo units, so that you had to have been in front of the actual gateway to talk only to one unit. And what we've done is integrated a SIP gateway into this ROIP gateway, so that now anybody with a SIP endpoint, whether it be a desk phone, a Wi-Fi phone, or what have you, can go ahead and interface to all of these walkie-talkies and be able to provide dual level communication on a push to talk or a walkie-talkie type transceiver open. And if that's configurable, so you could make it as tight as you want, or you can make it as open as you want, depending on what you want to do. So no longer is it tied into one silo, having it communicate with one transceiver, but now you're opening it up to the entire organization or business, enabling anybody from the front desk to call anybody with a Wi-Fi walkie-talkie or an analog-based walkie-talkie going through this gateway. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, this is a picture of that touch screen on the console IP phone. You can go ahead and use this, or even the X210 that I showed you with all the buttons, and you could tie all of these units in as a center console, being able to be the central unit, networking all of these wireless communications in one. That's kind of what we're doing now. And now what I'll do is try to get into more of our W611W portable phone. It may not look it on the outside, but I can guarantee you that this thing is really an industrial strength Wi-Fi phone that we actually put together for the marketplace. One of the things that we've done is that we've made this W611W a part of our Linkville line, and this is IP67. What does IP67 mean? That means it has the same water-resistant durability as our outdoor access points, meaning that those units that were designed outside of these doors are meant to handle rain, snow, all of these different feature sets, while at the same time, these things have also been tested for shoulder dropping, basically up to 6 meters or 2 meters, or basically a 6-foot height, to make sure that these things will stay in one piece when you drop it from the top. Mimicking the walkie-talkies that I mentioned, there's a button on the side for push-to-talk button capabilities, which kind of gives you an idea of where we're headed with this phone in the long term. But this is something that is really a standalone phone that doesn't need decked access points. You can just go ahead and access this right on any room or rooms with different Wi-Fi units together. And the good news is that most people who know how to pair up a Wi-Fi phone would be able to use this moving forward. Obviously, it does have Bluetooth 5.0 capabilities, so that for those that want to use a portable phone in addition to a headset, this is something that will actually make it work. A nice thing that we've actually done is that we've heard a lot of feedback, because Fanvil has been known to build a phone with many different DSS keys. And what we've done is, on the right-hand side or the left-hand side of this circular button, you can push either one and you will actually gain access to many different DSS keys, because it's a Snicker bar type of phone, you don't necessarily have all the different keys or separate keys, but what we do is provide you with a quick access to many of the different keys, so that many people can call those people that they call frequently with just one click away. Then I talk a little bit about the keyboard. I just want to give you sort of a side view on this. What comes loaded in the box as well is a belt clip. So you can go ahead and hook on this belt clip. The great idea about this phone is that it also comes with a stand, but the fantastic thing is it actually is chargeable with a USB-C port. Why is that important? Because many new laptops today are all biased through a USB-C. So you can actually take a charger, plug this into this phone as well, and you can go ahead and charge this unit and provide you with a great portable device you could just flip into your briefcase or your luggage and be able to bring and have local connectivity wherever you have Wi-Fi hookup, wherever you go moving forward. As I mentioned, all of the units, pardon my voice here, all of the codecs, high definition codecs that people are used to on our desk phones have also been incorporated here as well. We included a lot of the technologies in the G722, as well as the low bandwidth Opus codecs, giving you that low frequency collaboration in addition to high end for the G722. So we brought all those capabilities as well as DSS onto a Wi-Fi phone that's highly durable moving forward. One of the things that I did not bring into this unit that we're introducing is that we're actually beginning to sample now a lower end unit. This 611W is our high-end industrial type unit that we have for you, but we're also introducing samples now of our lower end, which kind of brings a lot less capabilities, but as well as have it being durable, but that won't necessarily comply with the IP67 standard, because as you note here, this thing, you can actually submit this in a vase and have it work underwater and be able to withstand a lot of punishment physically as well. We made this adjustment in terms of dropping this with 6 feet, but if you need something that works more in a standard commercial environment, we're building that, and samples are available coming soon, and I'll begin to show that in future expos and things like that where we're showcasing our solution. One big issue that we're doing is we're doing a lot of power savings. And because it works with Wi-Fi 6, we're able to now go ahead and expand 9 hours of talk time, including 200 hours of standby time. This is a huge improvement when it comes to Wi-Fi, because I remember the first generation of Wi-Fi phones that came out, that was the big challenge. But as Wi-Fi technology grows, we're going to go ahead and adopt these technologies into this unit, giving you longevity in terms of power savings, giving you a full time, as well as increasing the USB-C recharging capability so that you can recharge and not necessarily bring a charger with you, so that you can bring the phone up to speed wherever you go. I'm not going to go over some of these features here, but this kind of summarizes everything you want. It's also a light phone as well, 156 grams, and being able to support it. We'll have Wi-Fi roaming capabilities, Wi-Fi 6, and all of these different these different features will go ahead and support that. Again, this thing is really made to support a stand, which you can provide multiple stands to have mass units, but as well at the bottom of the unit, you can charge the phone standalone using a USB charger. It also comes with a belt clip and all the power adapters, so it works right out of the box, right into your set, which in many cases, it's a great alternative to using DECT, so that you can have a lot of expandability when having mobility, as well as a robust Wi-Fi network. That's what I kind of have for that set. And one of the things I wanted to introduce for this thing is that we've also introduced a SIP ceiling speaker as well. At a very high level, not only, all of our end units tend to be IP based or SIP based. What this is just a SIP ceiling speaker, which is also bidirectional, meaning that not only can it provide an IP speaker, but it also contains an internal microphone so that you can have two-way communication across a SIP ID speaker. This is a thing that becomes another alternative, and it also complies with all the different codecs, as well as being able to hook this up to most of the popular PBX solutions out there, so that you can go ahead and hook the speaker up into your capabilities, providing you with another alternative endpoint that might go ahead and suit your needs. So this is the whole spectrum that we're going to, in addition to Linkville. And one of the things that we've decided to do is provide a promotion and sample capabilities of our new solutions moving forward. Looking at some of the promotion program from our V series, looking at the V67 to V64, if you buy 5 or more units, we'll go ahead and issue a $5 rebate per unit. So if you want to go ahead and work with the SMBs or what have you, we'll go ahead and put together these. But if you want a couple more with 5 or more of a high-end V67s, we'll give you a $10 rebate for every single person. And this is valid from through December of 2023 and valid from USA and Canada. So these are the nice promos, and you can go ahead and feel free to work with Microcom to go ahead. They should be familiar with our program. If you want an NFR test drive units, these are the coupled units that we actually have put together that couples not only our W611W Wi-Fi unit, but also being able to couple a high-end and low-end 65 to 64 coupled with a 65 or 67, depending on which one you want to do. Most providers out there couple a high-end and a low-end phone so that you gotta get a test sample yielding up to a major discount so that you can go ahead and evaluate what is really good for your specific scenario at a reduced price, so you can test drive it in your own labs before you deploy it out into the field. These are all the programs that we've put in place, and this is our contact if in case you have any questions that you have. I'm based here, but my rest of my colleagues are based in China if you want to go ahead and reach out to them, or you could just send out to sales@fanvil.com. Either way, this is my last slide. If you have any further questions, I'm going to pass the baton back to Julie of Microcom.
Thank you very much, Tommy, for that wonderful presentation. And it was great. Thank you. And yes, I've got some questions here for you. Let's get started with the first one. Here looks like a general overall question. And you talked about, of course, some of the common features of all your phones. But the question here is, are all your phones touch screen?
All of us? No, actually, one of the things that we have, to be frank, let me see. When I go here, in our first slide, we have the 67, which I went through in detail. That's all touchscreen. One of the things I didn't highlight is that we also have an X7, which is also, we have the X7 and the X7A, which is both a touchscreen phone from an Android side as well as a Linux side. The X7 is our Linux phone, which is shown here, as well as the X7A, which is our Android version. So either one of those are touch screens. Now, I'll expand upon that because one of the things that we're doing, if you don't need a phone, if you need something just to answer, per se, a wireless phone, is that we also have indoor stations, which is all touchscreen. And some touchscreens are coupled with buttons on the side so that if you wanted to go ahead and have buttons to do either a speed dial or to answer a door, you can press those things and provide the capability to do that either via touchscreen or having a hybrid scenario where you have a touchscreen and button. What this is really a wireless phone that has a PoE connection on the back, but this also has integrated Wi-Fi connectivity, but it lacks the handset and it lacks a keypad. Why? Because when you have something hanging on a wall, you don't necessarily need to have a keypad and a handset, because this is really meant to highlight if you have a Domino's pizza person waiting at your front gate, waiting to get into your complex, but you can do that looking right at these screens here. So all of these units are our touchscreen capabilities, indoor stations, the X7 series, as well as our V67, which is what I talked about earlier today.
Excellent. Thank you, Tommy, so much. Next question here for you.
Yep.
Is the 6 lines, does that include hold lines?
You mean up here? You mean on the side of the units? The
I
answer,
believe so.
yeah, the answer is yes. In fact, what I want to do is that when you look at the 6 lines, even when you look at the side keys on either the V series, or if you want to go back to the XU series here, these lines over here can be configured to be whatever buttons that you want them to. In fact, you could even use these as speed dial buttons as you want, including even these speed dial buttons here. When you go into the actual configuration screen, you can identify each one of those key buttons. You can identify it as a hold, you can identify it as a park, you can identify it as a SIP account. So it's really configurable depending on how you want that phone to work, and it can be customized to fit whatever configuration you're seeking.
Excellent. So you might have answered the next question, but let's make sure.
Okay.
The question here is, can we grow more than 6 lines of course per system for people that have multiple projects going on?
When you say 6 lines, what do you mean by 6 lines? Because many of these phones, like an individual phone, has up to 20 lines of SIP accounts that you can support on that. Like I'll give you, for example, like say the V65, you can actually have, let me see how many SIP lines. This could support up to 20 different accounts on the one phone. I'm not exactly sure where the 6 lines came from, but one phone can handle up to 20 different SIP accounts on a single platform. So if you could expand on what you mean by those 6 lines, you could scale these phones to operate depending on whatever platform you're looking for.
Thank you, Tommy. I'm not sure who asked that regarding the 6 lines. If
Yep.
they can chime in before the end of the questions, maybe we could touch on that again.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna
here.
go ahead and go on to the next question.
Yep. The only thing
Great, thank you.
The only thing I see here is the 6 lines on the V62, and right here you can go ahead and program up to 6 different lines and accounts here. But if you need more keys, you could always graduate up into the V64, which provides up to 12 different SIP lines, depending on what model up you're looking for.
Oh, perhaps that is what they were referring to.
Yeah, I tried to look through, and that's what I imagined that question was sourced from. So.
Okay. Thank you, Tommy. Next question here. Are the IP67 device phones, are they device phones or walkie-talkies?
The IP67, you mean the V67 or the IP67?
It does say
Okay.
IP67 here.
Okay. In that case, the 57, which actually we have a I57, which is here. And what this is that this is actually, it's not necessary when you say when you say push to talk, this is really a wireless SIP phone or a PoE phone that you can go ahead and program. Actually, this is the 55, the I55, this is the I57. And then the i57 is really a flat screen that you could almost operate with it that behaves very much like a phone, less a handset and keypad. You could have a soft keypad displayed here, but here is really meant to display several different cameras or several different video interfaces depending on how you want to do it, and you can respond accordingly to depending on who you're communicating with on these phones.
Great, thank you, Tommy, and giving us extra information here. Greatly appreciate that. Yeah, this is sometimes a question may not be fully expressed.
Yep.
And okay, terrific. I got a couple more here for you. Next one says, can the phones call out of network, or are all like, for example, in a house, like for a construction site?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, depending if you have on a construction site, take for example, if you could bring internet onto a construction site, then wherever there's internet, you can basically hook these phones up and have any cloud-based communication. Typically in a G711 codec, I would allocate like 100 kilobits per second bandwidth so that per call. So depending on where you're located, if you happen to have internet, I mean, now with the new Starlink situation where you can bring internet wherever you go and you have good enough bandwidth, you can actually hook these phones up that seek internet. And if it could seek its cloud provider, then by all means, you can make a call wherever you bring it to, whether you're on a construction site or any site that you want to do, you can have these phones work.
Excellent, thank you. Tommy, can anyone go to your website to look at all of the different phones and capabilities and packages, and perhaps maybe even with the help of our side, Microcom, and your technical support, help someone build an entire network for their new chain of hotels, etc.?
Absolutely. In fact, I would suggest just go to www.fanvil.com is really our corporate website. If you want to do a deeper dive by any means, you can feel free to contact Julie, and Julie will work out a schedule with me, or you can contact me directly. My name is tommy.lee, TOMMY.LEE at fanvil.com. I'll be more than happy to do a deep dive in any solution that you see here, so that you can get more information on your specific project needs. But yeah, we can go ahead and dig into hotel phones. I can get into the idea about how to customize the faceplates if you need customization, because one of the unique things about our hospitality phones is that one model, the H5s, which comes in black and white, has a soft screen. And for those who deploy in hospitality, that soft screen could be really flexible because it gives you the capability of uploading the hotel logo, address, and all that onto a soft screen on a config file versus having to do it hard with a faceplate using the old standard ways. So we have several different models in each ones, and I'll be more than happy to dig deep in that for those who want to send me an email or what have you, or you can contact me through Julie. Whichever way you do, I'll be more than happy to do a deep dive together along with you and Julie.
Tommy, thank you so much for answering all of those questions for us today. And thank you to everyone for attending today's webinar. And if anyone does have any further questions, and like what Tommy just explained, please feel free to contact your sales rep or myself, or you can email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And please remember, this presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so you can view it again. And we'll never lose what Tommy shares with us. Thank you, my friend. I will be in touch so we can do the next webinar in a couple of months and see what else Fanvil is up to, and to share obviously with Microcom so we can all benefit from these from sales and so on and so forth.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate your time as well, and look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
Thank you, Tommy. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.